President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin have both responded positively after a 2-hour phone call aimed at resolving the war in Ukraine. Just moments ago, President Trump shared his reaction on social media, calling the conversation very successful. He stated that Russia and Ukraine are now expected to begin negotiations for a ceasefire, and more importantly, for an end to the war. He emphasized that the tone of the call was excellent and said Russia is interested in large-scale trade with the United States once what he called this catastrophic bloodbath is over. Quote, "And I agree." According to our White House correspondent, President Trump portrayed the call in a much more optimistic light than President Putin. He focused not only on the possibility of peace, but also on the potential economic benefits for both Russia and Ukraine once the conflict ends. Trump suggested it's now up to both sides to define the terms of a ceasefire and future negotiations. The U.S., for its part, will continue encouraging dialogue but will not dictate terms. He also said he's informed President Zelensky and key allies, including the European Commission, about the discussion. Still, there was no major breakthrough, and none was expected. Meanwhile, President Putin described the call as very informative and frank. He announced that Russia is ready to work with Ukraine on drafting a memorandum outlining the framework for a potential peace deal, including resolution principles, a timeline, and even a temporary cessation of hostilities should key agreements be reached. Our Moscow correspondent Steve Rosenberg offered his take on the Russian side's messaging. Despite the diplomatic tone, Russia has still not agreed to the proposed 30-day unconditional ceasefire that the US, Europe, and Ukraine have been urging. Following Putin's remarks, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov described the U.S. as a now neutral party, a statement seen by some as an attempt to flatter Donald Trump and shift blame to Europe for prolonging the war. We also spoke with Daniel Byman, director of the Warfare, Irregular Threats, and Terrorism program at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He noted that, despite the encouraging rhetoric, the actual content of the proposed memorandum remains vague and undefined. Given how far apart both sides were before this call, it's unclear if they've moved any closer to real progress. Byman pointed out that Russia may be betting on Trump losing interest, possibly pulling U.S. support altogether, ending both military and economic aid to Ukraine. That scenario would clearly favor Moscow. On the battlefield, Russia has made some advances over the past 10 months, but progress has been slow and costly. While many analysts say Russia has the upper hand, its gains have been modest. Unless Ukraine loses Western support entirely, major shifts on the ground seem unlikely in the short term. But if that support disappears, Ukraine could face severe consequences, including running out of ammunition and suffering a potential collapse. We're still waiting to hear from President Zelensky. His response will be crucial in understanding how this conversation and the wider diplomatic effort will evolve moving forward.